Welcome back. I'm Josh Reef, and today I want to talk about golf. But really, I want to talk about real estate because the more I play golf, the more I realize golf exposes everything. It exposes your patience, your discipline, your ego, your expectations, your ability to recover, your ability to make a decision and live with it. And honestly, that sounds a lot like real estate. Because in both golf and real estate, talent is simply not enough. You can have a beautiful swing and still shoot a bad score. You can know the market and still mishandle a client. You can have ability and still make the wrong decision because you are emotional, impatient, or trying to force something. I have done all of that on the golf course and in business. And every time I do, I learn the same lesson. The best players are not always trying to overpower the course. They're trying to manage it. They think. They prepare. They know where the trouble is. They know where they can miss. They know when to attack and when to play smart. That is what I want to talk about today. Course management. Because a great round of golf and a strong real estate career are built the same way. One smart decision at a time. Let's start with the first lesson. In golf, a smart player does not just step up to the tee and swing as hard as possible. No, at least not if they are thinking clearly. They start with the green. Where is the flag? Where is the trouble? Where is the best angle? Where can I miss? What shot gives me the chance to walk away with a good number? Then they work backward. From the green to the fairway to the tee box, that is smart golf. And I think that is smart real estate too. We cannot just start with random activity. We have to start with the result. If I am listing a home, the goal is not simply to put it online. The goal is to create the strongest possible outcome for the seller. So I have to work backward. Who is the buyer? What does that buyer care about? What price creates urgency? What story does the home need? What objections will buyers have? What could cause this listing to sit? What needs to be solved before we ever go live? Same thing with buyers. The goal is not just to open doors. The goal is to help them make the right move. So we have to work backward. What do they actually want? What can they afford? What trade-offs are real? What neighborhood fits their life? What would make them confident enough to write? That is course management. Start with where you want to finish, then build the shot from there. Because if we do not know where we are trying to go, we are not playing strategy. We are just swinging. Now, once we know the target, we have to know the trouble. In golf, we look at the wind, the water, the bunker, the out of bounds, the trees, the slope, the pin placement. We are asking, where is the danger? Where is the safe miss? Where is the smart place to leave the ball? That is not fear, that is wisdom. And real estate works the same way. A weak agent ignores the trouble. They say, let's list it high and see what happens. Let's take the buyer and figure it out later. Let's wait. Let's hope. Let's see. But hope, well, that's not a strategy. A strong agent reads the course. They know where the trouble is. Overpricing, weak buyer motivation, inspection risk, unrealistic seller expectations, poor communication, financing issues, low appraisal risk, days on market, a deal that looks simple but has a landmine sitting underneath it. Our job is to see the trouble before the client steps into it. That is leadership. It's not negativity. It's not fear. Leadership. Because clients do not need us to pretend every shot is easy. They need us to say, here is where we need to be careful. Here is where the risk is. Here is the smarter play. Here is one of the biggest lessons golf has taught me. We are not going to hit every shot perfectly. Nobody does. Not amateurs, not professionals, no one. So the question is not, how do I hit a perfect shot every time? That is just not real. The better question is, if I miss, where can I still recover? That is huge because some misses are manageable and some misses ruin the whole. In real estate, we need to think the same way. We cannot control every part of a transaction. Deals get emotional, clients change their minds, inspections reveal things, appraisals come in low, buyers hesitate, sellers get attached, markets shift. So the goal is not to avoid every problem. We simply cannot. The goal is to manage the risk so the problem does not destroy the deal. That means we communicate early. We put things in writing. We set expectations. We explain timelines. We tell the truth about pricing. We prepare the seller for buyer feedback. We prepare the buyer for competition. We do not overpromise. We do not let people believe something that is not true. Choosing the right miss means thinking ahead. It means protecting the client before the pressure shows up. It means I am not trying to be perfect. I am trying to be professional, and there's a huge difference. Now, let's talk about ego, because golf exposes ego fast. You are standing on the tee. The smart play is obvious, but you pull driver anyway. Why? Because you want the big shot? You want the impressive shot. You want to prove something. And sometimes it works, but a lot of times now you are in the desert. You're in the trees. You're out of bounds or making the hole harder than it needed to be. That is hero ball. And I have played hero ball. Golf makes it very clear when ego is making the decision. Real estate has hero ball too. Taking an overpriced listing with no strategy. Working with an unqualified buyer because we are afraid to lose them. Overpromising to win the appointment. Avoiding a hard conversation because we want the client to like us. Chasing every lead instead of focusing on the right business. Trying to look busy instead of being effective. That is hero ball. And hero ball usually costs us. A great golfer knows when to attack and when to lay back. A great agent knows the same thing. Not every client is worth chasing. Not every listing is worth taking. Not every price is worth agreeing to. Not every opportunity is actually opportunity. Sometimes the most professional move is the smarter shot, even if it is not the flashiest one. Now, this is one of my favorite lessons. Golf tricks us into thinking everything is connected. You hit a bad tee shot and now you are mad. You miss a putt and now the next tee shot feels heavier. You make a double and suddenly you start thinking the whole round is falling apart. But the truth is, each shot is its own decision. The last shot is now over. The next shot is not here yet. The only shot we can actually play is the one that's right in front of us. Real estate is the same. One bad call does not define the day. One client who does not respond does not define the pipeline. One deal falling apart does not define the career. One awkward conversation does not mean I am bad at this. But if I carry every bad shot into the next shot, now I am not playing the current situation. I am playing my frustration. That is dangerous because this business will give us moments where we have to reset. The seller says no. Reset. The buyer disappears. Reset. The inspection gets messy. Reset. The listing sits. Reset. The question is, what is the decision in front of me now? Not what happened yesterday. Not what I wish happened. What is the next best shot? That question can save the round, and it can save the day. Now, if each shot is its own decision, we need something that brings us back to center. In golf, that is a routine. Pick the target, check the wind, choose the club, take the practice swing, step in, and commit. That routine matters because it keeps the mind from spiraling. It gives us something familiar to return to. Real estate needs routines too, not complicated ones, simple ones. A morning routine, a follow-up routine, a listing prep routine, a buyer consultation routine, a pricing conversation routine, a transaction update routine, a weekly pipeline review. Why? because routine protects us from emotion. If I only work when I feel clear, I will be inconsistent. If I only follow up when I feel confident, I will miss business. If I only prepare when I feel pressure, I will always be reacting. A routine gives structure. It says, this is what I do whether I feel like it or not. That is how we become steady and clients trust steady. Now let's talk about something simple. No three putts. In golf, we can improve the score quickly by stopping the obvious mistakes. We do not need to hit every drive 300 yards. We do not need to make every birdie putt. We do not need to play perfect golf. But if we stop three putting, if we clean up the easy chips, if we stop throwing away shots around the green, the score, it improves. Simple, not easy, but simple. Real estate works the same way. A lot of us look for the big breakthrough, the perfect lead source, the viral video, the one listing that changes everything. But sometimes the business improves fastest when we stop giving away strokes. Return the call, follow up when we say we would, show up prepared, know the comps, confirm appointments, send the recap, track the lead, tell the truth early, communicate before the client has to ask. Do the basics with consistency. That is no three putts in real estate. And over time, those safe strokes add up. We do not always need a miracle shot. Sometimes we just need fewer careless ones. Here is the final lesson I want to bring home. Expectations. Golf becomes miserable when expectations and preparation do not match. If I play once a month but expect to shoot my best round, I am setting myself up to be frustrated. If I never practice wedges but expect to get every ball up and down, I am asking the game to give me something I have not earned. Real estate is the same. If we do not prospect but expect a full pipeline, that is a mismatch. If we do not follow up but expect referrals, we do not study the market but expect to sound like experts, that is a mismatch. If we do not prepare but expect confidence, that is a mismatch. And mismatched expectations create frustration. So the question is not always, why am I not getting the result? The better question is, does my preparation match the result I am asking for? That is honest, and it is empowering, because if the answer is no, now we know what to fix. Not the whole life, not the whole business, just the next practice session, the next routine, the next decision, the next shot. So let me bring this home. Golf is a lot like real estate. It rewards discipline, it rewards patience, it rewards strategy, it rewards preparation, it rewards emotional control, and it punishes ego. We do not have to be the longest hitter to win, and we do not have to be the flashiest agent to build a great business, but we do have to think. We have to know the target. We have to read the trouble. We have to choose the right miss. We have to stop playing hero ball. We have to treat each shot as its own decision. We have to build routines. We have to stop giving away strokes. And we have to make sure our expectations match our preparation. That is course management. And in real estate, course management means we stop reacting and we start leading. We stop guessing and we start preparing. We stop forcing and start strategizing. We stop trying to overpower the business and start outthinking the market. Because there is no reason someone should outthink us if we are willing to slow down, study the course, and make better decisions. I am Josh Reef. This is the Josh Reef Real Estate Podcast. And my goal is to help you think more clearly, lead with more confidence, and build a better business in real estate. One decision at a time. Subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll see you on the next one.